Hello, everybody, and Jess here, and welcome back to Tsuki to Laika to Nosferatu. Today we are going to watch episode 4. In the last episode, not really all that much has happened, story wise at least, or maybe it did. We don't know yet. We don't know the consequences of anything that happened in that episode, so it's hard to tell. But we did fight Irina's fear of heights and later fear of falling, I guess, by training her on that little zip line, then jumping out of the plane. Uh, now, I think they jumped out of a chopper. I think that was it. Then they went for a flight on a plane. Or did they do it before? Doesn't matter. They did both of those things, doesn't matter much what order. We know that there might be something going on behind the scenes because of the whole complex blowing up and so many people dying. We know that Irina has been taken from her people seemingly without much resistance from her people. So that also creates a little bit of a mystery here. What happened there? Why was she taken? I mean, we know why was she taken, but why was she taken? Why was it her? Was she voted on by the elders of her village? Or was she selected by the not Soviet Union? Or did she volunteer because she wanted to go to space? We don't know any of that yet. And honestly, I don't expect we will get many answers in this episode either. The show seems mostly just focused on Irina's relationship with Lev, not really on actually going to space. So I don't expect much progress in that regard. But if there is the time to make some progress, it's gonna be now. It's gonna be episode 4. At least that's how I see it. Most other anime that we've seen kind of had the setup in the first 3 episodes, and then episode 4 and onwards seems to be the actual story proper. So hopefully it will be the same case for Tsuki to Laika to Nosferatu. What else do I need to mention? Oh, my lighting should be a little bit better because I made a little bit of a reflector for my lamp with a piece of paper. I'll probably post a photo of it on Patreon or something available to everybody because who would lock a photo of a paper craft behind a paywall? It seems to be doing the job well, but I will need to upgrade it sooner or later because I can see it being sustainable. Okay, regardless of that. Tsuki to Laika to Nosferatu episode 4. Again, subs please. This version has been fine from my experience, but if you believe that it's not fine, do let me know if there is any better rip, better subs. I'll check it out. Without further ado, let's gear up. Let's give you guys some subs, and let's start episode 4 of Tsuki to Laika to Nosferatu in 3, 2, 1, now. Sunday visual, Funimation. Okay, so we have a timeline for the launch. 3 weeks. I'd say that would make between 10 and 20 episodes. So I don't think we will get to the launch in this season after all. Yeah. Poison? Or just a good old heart attack? It's not Soviet Union, so you can you can't tell. Was he purposefully killed or just, you know, passed? Where again? I wonder how far this season will go, honestly. We know that they won't go for the launch because it doesn't really fit time wise, but maybe? I don't think so. We might get to. We might have enough time to uncover some great conspiracy or something because I can tell that there will be some great conspiracy, but I don't think we'll get to any sort of actual launch. Hmm, she's awful eager. Spacesuit fitting. Okay. Makes sense. I don't think she will. That's a good question. Okay, what are we doing now? And who are you? Okay, you're one of the candidates. I don't think he is. Probably. Yeah, we're getting the same conflict again. She's an object. She's just a test subject, right? Just like Laika was. What you gonna do? Drink her blood? I don't think so. Okay, that's a good approach. I don't think he would mind. She probably has like sensitive hearing. Eating space food all the time. Valid concern. That's true. She seems an awful lot obedient. Probably because she wants to go to space. Okay, so we have an answer to that. She did volunteer. Gotcha. So we get an answer to that. Because she really wants to go to space for some reason. Yeah, don't assume. Makes an ass out of you and me. He is. And that's gonna cause issues down the line. Russian winter, oh man. Belka Lake, I guess it's Balkai? So, an atmosphere like there is inside of the capsule. Yeah. No sound, increased oxygen, lowered pressure. There's no sound in space. No one will hear you scream. Does the capsule have enough resources for a week, though? For legal purposes, of course. Yeah. She's gonna order milk, or sparkling water, or lemon seltzer. Ah. She wants to go for a date. Don't you get it? That's a roundabout way of saying that, because she's a tsundere, so she won't say it outright. That's a great conversation. That's a rundown bar. But I love the climate. Quiet music, clinking of glass. Okay, Doesn't sound much like jazz, though. I love the climate here. Caviar, bread, and we're bonding. We're bonding more and more. Oh, it's the glass with the metal basket with a handle. Remember, my grandma had those. It's great for hot tea, so you don't touch the glass directly. You grab it by the basket, by the handle of the basket. From back when glasses with handles weren't all that widespread. Wine? Oleaster. Isn't oleaster a drug? Yeah, I think oleaster. I'll have to look it up. I remember often being warned to not touch oleaster because you can get poisoned. Getting some cute moments with Irina. And she's drunk. She took a sip and she's drunk. Probably drugged. Ooh, we're bonding, alright. Did Ushanka fall? No, it didn't. Thankfully. Maybe go to a booth instead of sitting on the stools. So, a childhood dream. Yeah, because you live in not Soviet Russia. That much is true. To that. Oh, it's the kitchen lady. That's true. You probably shouldn't be talking about it much. You're military and you're surrounded by military. I'm interested. Oh, okay, that's fitting. Soon much? Why did you come here though? You didn't order a drink, you didn't sit down, just went to look for them and warn them to not talk about UK much? They're gonna go skating, I guess. Or play some billard. Yeah, they're going skating. Why is that so surprising? You gotta keep up the cover. Can't let them know you're a vampire. Oh, we're having a nice moment. Nice tender moment of unshackled dere. And they're going skating on the Balkai Lake. And she just knows how to skate, apparently. And we're getting some nice animation. Some really nice music. That was a bit rough of a cut. Have to look at it closer. That's a nice cut. That's some nice cuts. The music and the bloom and the moon being so low, it really does bring up that dreaminess of this sequence, doesn't it? She's really good at skating. And did Lev join? No, he didn't. That was a really nice sequence. Because he lashed out at his superior officer. Yep. For a good reason, though. As you do. Hmm. Yeah, that's the overarching issue here. Ooh. Okay. So Irina wants to go back to the moon. Moonstone. So we know what this pendant is. So we have motivation. If it means you can go to space. Now, going to space is not a guarantee that you will go to the moon, though. Okay, so you just care about going to space and seeing the moon from up close. And that's our promise by the lake. And we're getting a bond. Okay, so she got completely blacked out. Oh, you won't for long. Sensory deprivation is no fun. If you're deprived of your senses, your brain eventually decides to make up for it. If you sit up in an anechoic chamber with no sounds, you eventually start hallucinating sounds. If you sit in complete darkness, you eventually start hallucinating various visual things. If you're suspended in, I forgot what it's called, but some sort of a liquid at neutral temperature that completely rids you of any sense of feeling, you start to feel things crawl on you. Brain hates to be depraved of senses. I don't remember what the world record is of sitting in a sensory deprivation chamber, but it's shorter than you might think. I think it's measured in hours, not in days. Actually, I'm gonna look it up real quick after the episode ends, because there isn't that much left of the ED. And we're going to the moon. Like Dodge. The next episode is more parachuting. Some parachute doesn't open. Ooh, we're looking for an interesting episode, alright. Okay, I'm gonna play and pause it and look up the sensory deprivation chamber real quick. Sensory deprivation chamber record. Come on, Google, work with me. Is there a world record? At someone's center 5 years ago, the record was 8 hours. I don't think there are any recent news, maybe on Wikipedia. Notable users. No, I can't find anything actually. Yeah, I can't find anything about any official record, but it's safe to assume it's not much more than those 8 hours mentioned in that random Reddit thread. Okay, let's walk through this episode again, because we actually did get some nice things, so it's worth jumping through them. Training continues till the week prior to launch. 3 more weeks. Seeing how this episode covered maybe 3 days tops, we're looking at 7 more episodes until launch or so. So that would give us episode 11. Maybe. Maybe we could realistically get the launch after all. I don't know, hard to tell. um, let's just, see what happens. It's no use trying to predict things. We're short on time. Reduce emergency rations and other equipment. Reduce. There was a talk about reducing the weight. Yeah? I want the weight down. I'll take responsibility. Good old USSR. Cutting down on everything. Question is this gonna create issues? I mean, it certainly is gonna create issues, but what kind of issues? Will Irina perhaps land not where she is supposed to? Perhaps in the UK? Maybe. I mean, I can certainly sense some tense moments of her going into re-entry, everything around burning, and then she jettisons, and the parachute doesn't want to open. Oh no! What is she gonna do? But then they figure something out. I know Lev swoops in on a plane and catches her, something like that. I wouldn't be surprised. She has to be more fortified. Yeah, it was made for a dog, not for a human. This is interesting tidbit to me. This dude just randomly getting a heart attack. It seems to be of no consequence here. At least we don't see any possible consequence of it. He just clutches his chest in pain and says he can't collapse yet. And then we completely forget about it and jump straight into the OP. So I'm not sure what all that is about. And yeah, she's gonna orbit the Earth for 1 hour and 50 minutes. Then she will go into re entry. She will jettison herself on a little bit of a seat with a parachute. And then she'll jump from that with a second parachute. For some reason. Don't know why. But that's how they figured it would go. So who am I to question it? Yeah, she has 3 weeks and she's awful eager to get started. We get the spacesuit, which is pretty close to the real thing. It really is close to the real thing, how they actually looked. It's all orange, has a big helmet, lots of pipes and zippers and stuff. Yeah. And it's hot inside. It has to isolate you, right? Because the space is cold, and the space has no pressure, positive or negative. So you want to be isolated from that, but it also means all the heat you generate stays inside. Now, modern spacesuits do have systems of radiating that excess heat out, but it's Cold War era Soviet Russia, so of course they don't have those systems. Yeah, it's hot, and we're getting cute Goblin Irina, and we're getting some fan service. Yeah, we're getting a nice zoom in, some fan service, and a Sun Sun moment. There's her. Of course, she doesn't like the fact that vampires go to space sooner than she does. Right, she trained the whole time to go to space, and other candidates did, but it's the vampire that's going to go first. And she's not too pleased about that. And yes, once her role's over, the vampire will be disposed of. Now, this concept is so heavily hammered in, I feel, that I think it will actually play a leading role. It will play an important role later in the series. Perhaps not in the anime. Perhaps we won't get that far. But in the source material, I can see this being the end game. Lev and Irina bonding, the USSR wanting to dispose of Irina, and then Lev grabs her, they jump into a car, and they bail with the intention of going to the UK, for example, escaping. I can see that being the end game. Either after Irina comes back from space, or maybe even before that. Maybe there is actually some big conspiracy that they will uncover and they will have to run. It's plausible in my eyes. She seems awfully obedient, but we later learn why. And again, we have this she's an object. Get it right. She's not a person. You should not be getting attached to her. She's just an object. She's just a test subject, a test object, right? Like the dog, like equipment you send on a ship, on a satellite, right? She's no different than that. Don't get attached to her. But we know that he did get attached. Even if your launch is successful, I won't acknowledge you. Let's hope you don't die. Watch out, or she'll suck your blood. She's not nice, that's for sure. And we're getting the question: what do you think of me? And she's a little bit, a little bit uh, taken aback by what she said herself. It's a nice moment. We're getting a lot of nice bonding moments in this episode, and we learn that Irina has actually volunteered for the job. She wasn't taken hostage. She wasn't voted out by the elders. None of that stuff. She actually did want to go with the USSR people, and she did actually want to go to space. And they were her best shot at realizing her dream. Vampire's Day Off, Harsh Winter, Laika 44, Solitude Training, an Echoic Chamber. Yeah, we know that. At least you can grab a book and spend your time reading. And yeah, the capsule is cut out from everything. There might be some equipment sounds, but not much more than that. You're in space, there's no sound getting in from the outside because there is no sound outside, just plain and simply. It's dark outside as well. Not so much in the capsule, I'd imagine, but it's a tight, cramped space with no sound, and you're cut off from everything, essentially. And Irina wants to go to the jazz bar for a little bit of a date. Whatever, just take me there, baka. Yeah, that's essentially what she does. There's other drinks and music, but why? Whatever, just take me there. And she hides in her embarrassment. One thing for sure, she will not have issues with claustrophobia. She sleeps in a coffin, so that one will not be an issue. And this whole conversation, first time seeing you in plain clothes. Me too, me too. It's cold, not really. That's that's too real. But it creates a nice contrast. They're sitting very far apart, and when they're coming back on the bus, Irina leans on him. We're at the bar, and I love the atmosphere at this bar. all those Soviet posters, this bare lamp, basically just a bare light bulb hanging, quiet, chill music, a plain brick on the walls, wooden counter. I love the climate of this place. And they're playing formerly illegal music. Is this what's going on in here? I don't know if you can see it. I think it's a glitch. Yeah. Can you see my cursor? You probably can't. But yeah, something happened here because you can see a line going here on top of the door. And then there is this bit of a floor. It's as if they forgot to fill this part in with floor texture. That's interesting. That's interesting. Do we get any other shot from that perspective? I don't think we are getting any. And she orders sparkling water in this little glass with a metal basket. That brings back memories. And she really likes sparkling water. And Lev really likes looking at her drinking sparkling water, apparently. Yeah, because he sees an after image and all, and some shoujo bubbles and shoujo sparks. And he's taken aback by her beauty. And that drink is Nastoika. So that's gonna be an infusion of oleaster soaked for 3 weeks in zinzi. I wanna look up what zinzi is. Is it an actual real zinzi is someone's profile on Instagram? Cool. Nastoika. Yeah, Nastoika is just a liquor, an infusion of herbs in brandy or similar spirit. And oleaster, I believe. Um, Oleaster. Oh no, oleaster is an olive, a wild olive tree. So it's not. Okay, so it's not poisonous. I was thinking of something else. I was thinking of nasturtia? Maybe? I was thinking of something that has a similar name to oleaster. But I can't recall what. Okay, so he's just drinking a regular infusion of olive leaves in some sort of a brandy, essentially. Sure, why not? Sounds fairly pleasant. And yes, in USSR, drinking age is 16. I think even nowadays, in Russia, drinking age is 16. Actually, let me look that up as well, because I'm curious. Russia drinking age. Wikipedia? No, it's not Wikipedia. Belize, Comoros, Grenada, Latvia, Malta, Mali, Panama, Russia. No, it's 18. Or is it? That's a shitty table. Consumption. Consumption is 16. Seems it didn't change after all. Even in Poland, it's 18. And he essentially peddles a hard drink to a 17-year-old. That's a little bit of a problem, if you ask me. I mean, it's legal, but Just a sip. Getting zoom on her lips again. The creators of this show really want to emphasize. And she's immediately smashed. She doesn't like the flavor. Her tongue is burning. That's what hard liquor does to you. And she chases it with sparkling water. Some cute moments we're getting here. And she's completely smashed. Hey, Lev calls him by his name. And promptly tumbles down. I was thinking there's gonna be a moment of her Ushanka falling down and the patrons of the bar noticing that she has sharp ears, but apparently not. So, I mean, that's fine as well. She wants to know why Lev wants to go to space, and he simply saw a plane flying in the direction of the moon at the age of 5, and he wanted to take a plane to the moon. That's as simple of a dream as one can get. And we shouldn't bring war into space. I agree wholeheartedly. And we meet the kitchen lady. First, we see her in her kitchen clothes, and then in her regular clothes. Not sure how much of a fan I am of this way of kind of forcing us to remember who the character is. Not a huge fan of this approach. I think her design is stands out enough to stand on its own. Her freckles and her red glasses, I think that whether she wears her hair like this or she wears it like this, you would be able to tell it's the same character. The whole transition scene seems unnecessary to me and kind of takes me out of the immersion, only ever so slightly. And yeah, you should keep it down about the UK. You're a soldier of the not Soviet Union. The delivery crew might be listening, and they probably are listening. They probably implanted you with a microphone or something, or have pigeons with microphones flying around. It's the not Soviet Russia we're talking about. And we know the nickname of Lev. And now they go skating to this tailor shop. And Lev is apparently known here. And those two seem like characters. They seem like characters. I wonder if they will be reoccurring. Because there is enough care put into them that they might be reoccurring. The barman at the bar was a fair bit more simplistic, I feel, and wasn't even given a voice or any expression, so it's completely a side character. But those two, they have personalities, they have design. Rosa's not the only pretty soldier. An inquiry about her eyes. And Lev knows to react so that Irina doesn't spit out that she's a vampire or anything like that. Pick up the training gear and go. And she's apparently a private now. Oh, here we have this moment. It's a nice contrast to the bus ride they took there. Bus ride they're taking to the lake. She's just leaning on him and sleeping a little bit. And here we are on Lake Baikal. Belka, but we know it's Balkai. And we have this whole sequence with this music and those And it's animated on once. Yeah, it's animated on once to add fluidity. And here the background is animated on ones and Irina is animated on twos. It that makes it so it can get a little rough at times, like between those two frames, right? It's basically her still just moving around. But I don't think it's that noticeable during the animation proper. This zoom is interesting. This zoom and it seems like zoom and tilt, even though nothing really shows that tilt. No, those couple of frames do show the tilt. The pane of water actually moves a little bit up. You can see it when you look out the rocks. Yeah, and now we're just zooming in, and we're again separating the water, the ice sheet from the rocks to create that illusion of panning in. And again, it is rough at times because the background is animated on ones and Irina is animated on twos. Those couple of moments are kind of rough because it's basically her still image with just some movement to her clothes and her hair being slid across the screen. It looks nice during the animation itself, but now that you look at it, kind of rough. We're getting some nice shots. I'm not complaining about those. Yeah, and it's just mostly stills. As much as I would like to step through this entire sequence frame by frame, kind of afraid of getting copy striked because it's Bandai Namco. She dances, she's happy, she slides along, she's really good at skating. And Lev is awestruck at what he sees. A spectacle, a true spectacle right before his eyes. That was a nice scene, and the music was the choice of music in particular was, I feel, perfect for this scene, and it kind of covered any deficiencies there might have been. Right? There is there are some rough moments during this animation, as I mentioned, but in general there is that feel of dreaminess created by both the music, the slight bloom, the and the backgrounds, mostly just blue with bright glowing stars and galaxies, and Irina glowing herself like the full moon. I really liked that scene. I really did. That was fun. Going to space seems far fetched. And yeah, we learned that Lev was violent towards a superior because someone got a an engineer's son, I believe, fired. Yeah, the son of an engineer chief blamed a new graduate. No, the other way around. Okay, graduate was apologizing and yet was stepped on. Irina's parents were killed up in the war and burned. And she has a theory about why vampires are hated on Earth. They are people of the moon, so they are hated here on Earth. And she has this moon crystal with her that she wants to take back to the moon. Yeah? I want to take the stone to the moon, but I don't have wings and can't fly. But then the UZSR people showed up And that's why she's putting up with all the training and all the hardships without a single complaint, because it gets her closer to achieving her goal. And she wants to see the moon before humans defile it. It's a cool sentiment. And very, very real, you know? It is very real sentiment. Wanting to see the moon before humans defile it. Because I feel like we're kinda getting close to that moment as humanity, where soon enough the moon will surely be defiled in one way or another. They will either start strip mining it, or they will etch a Coca Cola logo with a giant laser on its surface, or something equally ridiculous like that. I can totally see that happening well within my lifetime. And it kind of sucks. Kind of sucks that I have this cynical of a view of humanity, but at the same time, this view is very well grounded in reality. And we have the promise. Of course, I'll take you to space. No matter what happens, I'm your ally. And I think this is the foreshadowing of them eventually having to run together. I think that is the foreshadowing here. If we get to that moment when they have to run, I can totally see Lev standing back for a moment, and then this memory of this promise rushes to his head, and he jumps out, attacks his superior officer or whatever, and essentially kidnaps Irina, rescues her, jumps into a car with her, and they run away. And we spend 6 episodes maybe on the run. I can see that happening. And she doesn't remember anything after she returns. Can't remember anything. A little bit of a bar perhaps, but not the lake, not the skates, not the promise, not what she said. What lake? And yeah, an echoic altitude chamber. She welcomes being isolated from humans, but I don't think it will be for long. And we're getting the ED. Oh, uh, MVP, M player, MPV has finished unexpectedly. Thankfully, it happened now, and not during me watching it. Perhaps caused by me trying to scroll things too fast or something like that. That was a good episode. That was a good episode. Even though we didn't really get much into the story proper, which is exactly how I thought it would go. We continue the training and the going to space thing. It's mostly still in the background. We're still going for the interpersonal relationships. That's the major part of the story here. That's the focus. At least I feel like that is the case. That this will now be the focus here. Hmm. We get some nice moments of Lev and Irina bonding, and I feel this will be crucial to the quote unquote end game of this series. But I don't know if we will see this end game within this season, if that makes sense. I think what we're seeing is a setup to things that will happen in further episodes, or things that happened in the light novel, because I think the source material is a light novel. I think this season will go to the moment of launch at most, if that. And after Irina gets back, or after the launch is stopped for some reason, we will find out that we need to be on the run. Lev will try to rescue Irina, and they will escape. And we will end on a cliffhanger there as they're making their escape. And go read the light novel, go wait for the second season if you want to know if they escaped and how they escaped and where did they go, and did Irina get a chance to go to space, perhaps through another nation. I think that's what we're going for here. Because a couple of facts are being too hammered in to not matter. The fact that Lev has Irina's back, that he's attached to her very strongly, the fact that Irina is attached to Lev and is slowly opening more and more to him, and the fact that Irina should be treated as an object and will probably be quote unquote disposed of after her mission is done. All of those things do make me think that it can only end in escape. Whether it is before Irina has a chance to go to space via the USSR program or after she comes back, that remains to be seen. That remains to be seen. Anything else worth mentioning about this episode? I can see that it wasn't made on a huge budget. It's clearly visible. The little glitch in the bar, the little slide showy at times dance sequence, they're a dead giveaway that their budget was limited. I think the capsule they showed once, it was also CG. So they didn't even like draw on top of it to create an illusion that it's a drawing. They just CG'd it. That certainly tells me the budget isn't particularly high, but at the same time, they're making the most of it. You can clearly see the effort, you can clearly see the love put into this series. That's something that's visible plain as day, at least to me. Because they could have just animated some stills, but they went that extra mile. They added some bloom, they added some interesting camera movements, they added great music, right? They did try to make the most of what they can make, like physically and budget wise. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I'd rather see an anime made with a lot of heart and made by people who actually care about it than anime with astronomical budget but made just to cut off some coupons from a popular manga, honestly. Because as much of a spectacle as that the latter would probably be, you can feel it when an anime isn't made with heart. I'd like to think. Not always, but sometimes you can. Uh, Arifureta is kind of good example. They didn't even try there. Man, that series was rough. But it's getting a second season for some reason, and I might even watch it because I'm curious about how atrocious will the CG in Arifureta season 2 be. I really honestly am just plain curious. Okay, I think that's gonna be it. And it's not even midnight yet. It's 9:30 in the evening. So I might be able to release this video a day early. Wow. when has that ever happened? I released videos day late, but never a day early. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. In any case, that's gonna be it from me for today. I'm waiting for future episodes because I wanna know how this how the story here happens, how it grows, what happens next, and all that jazz. I really, really, really do. But I'm gonna end this here, and we need to wait a week for next episode. But before that, like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, but tell me why so I can improve. I cannot improve if I don't know what to improve. Leave a comment down below. What should I improve? What you thought of this episode? What you thought of my reaction? What you thought of my ideas for how this series will go? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you have any other ideas about it? About the potential developments in this series? Tell me all about it in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you want to be notified about any future videos I will release. If you really like what I'm doing, you can support me on Patreon. Just for $1 a month, you get access to my Discord server, and there are some other goodies in higher tiers. And yeah, do all the good stuff, guys, and cheers.